Ladies and gentlemen, it's jon422002, and I just want to do a quick video on TNA Impact Wrestling. What I want to have a quick talk about is that I've just seen the last in a three-part series by Pro Wrestling 4 on TNA Wrestling in depth. And what they talk about is the good in TNA, the bad in TNA, and how to fix TNA. Now, one thing I'd like to talk about on how to fix TNA is pay-per-views. I think this is something that they kind of let slide in the second part of this year, and it's sort of gone downhill a little bit, and I couldn't really figure out why. I think it all started to happen round about Destination X. They had the Destination X pay-per-view, they're coming up to Destination X pay-per-view, they're starting the Bound for Glory series, and they're talking about Bound for Glory. I think it was Amazing Red in his Post Report interview. It said the last thing you see on the last Impact Wrestling before Destination X is a huge promo package for Bound for Glory. There lies the problem. There lies the problem for me, because if TNA aren't putting any emphasis on their pay-per-view, their next pay-per-view, Destination X, and instead of putting all the emphasis on Bound for Glory, which at that point I think was 3-4 months away, why should the fans buy Destination X? It is very difficult for me to understand, and even after Destination X, there were two pay-per-views, I think, Hardcore Justice and No Surrender, also between Bound for Glory. Hardcore Justice, I can't remember what happened on Hardcore Justice, and No Surrender, I was really annoyed about the pay-per-view promotion for that. I think going into it, I think on the Friday, I remember looking and checking out the card. There were 5 matches announced, and 2 of those were Bound for Glory series matches. There was no title match announced. There was hardly any promotion put into it. I'm thinking, we're on a Friday, we're 2 days away from the No Surrender pay-per-view airing, and there's no title match announced. I mean, as it happened, they did a triple threat match for the title with Sting versus Angle versus Anderson, but why not put that on your pay-per-view schedule 2 or 3 weeks before? Promote the fact that there's going to be a 3-way match with Angle, Sting, and Anderson, 3 very recognisable names. 3 names that are known throughout wrestling. Why not advertise it? I didn't understand it, and I think the problem has been on pay-per-view in the past few months that more emphasis has been on the big Bound for Glory event than it has been on the next pay-per-view. And I think that problem translates to the fans, because if the program, if TNA, if Impact Wrestling are just talking about Bound for Glory, then the fans aren't going to want to watch the pay-per-views in between. Because if TNA aren't talking about it, then is it really that important? You need to make your pay-per-views, I feel, you need to make your pay-per-views important to the fans. If you make your pay-per-views so important to the fans, they're the ones who'll put their money down and will go and pay to watch them. So, for me, that's one of the big issues for TNA, is that concentrate on your next event. Just concentrate on what you've coming up next. Concentrate on this is our next pay-per-view, this is going to be our main event, and build your card. Use those weeks to build your card and to build towards that next pay-per-view. I mean, obviously promote Bound for Glory, but I think what's happened is I think they kind of over-promoted Bound for Glory, and the rest of the pay-per-views really got lost in the shuffle. And as a result, I mean, like I said, I can't even remember what happened to Hardcore Justice. I can't. If you ask me to remember a match now, I can remember one. I mean, over here as well, over here in the UK, we got all the pay-per-views for free. They air on the Wednesday after they happen, so they happen on a Sunday in the US, and we get to see them for free on Challenge TV on a Wednesday. Now, there have been some that, I've seen pay-per-view results gone, I'm not going to watch that. There were others like Destination X where I think I saw one match. I saw the 4-way match. I believe it's for the TNA contract that Austin Aries won. I saw one match, and I recollect, I then turned it off after that. And I think therein lies another problem. I think, if TNA are going to make these pay-per-views and make them important, they need to build cards and build feuds and build storylines that people want to see. I mean, if you've got people like myself that are, turning off Destination X after seeing sort of one of the matches, and then thinking, oh, well, there isn't anything else I really want to see. To me, that then made me think, well, is there people in the US who are thinking, there isn't anything I want to see here, and aren't paying for the pay-per-view, and just deciding not to buy it because there isn't anything they want to see. Again, going back, I think that was a big problem with No Surrender. There was the Bound for Glory matches, then there was the Bound for Glory finals, which was very confusing because they didn't really tell the fans there was going to be an end match there, that the winners were going to face each other. Bishop comes out and announces that one. It does get very, very confusing. So that's one element on the pay-per-view side that I think TNA needs to change. So the second one for me, the bigger thing for me, every pay-per-view that TNA do, I feel, should be away from the Impact Zone. Take Impact there, get the fans in, do Impact set, no problem. But I think on a pay-per-view, you need a different feel. I think being in a different arena helps Impact Wrestling. I think being in a different place helps Impact Wrestling. I think if they go to different places and they draw a paying crowd in to see them wrestle, the crowd is so much more into it. You can see it once on Impacts, recent Impacts, so they've gone to different places and the crowd feels more into it. The crowd really helps that because then it comes across on TV and there's more of a reaction there, whereas I think the reaction sometimes of fans in the Impact Zone doesn't help TNA. And I think for a pay-per-view, you need that different vibe, you need that different feel. And that's another way for people to buy the pay-per-views. The pay-per-views feel different than, a regular Impact in the Impact Zone. It's another way to draw fans in, and I think that's an important element for TNA to try and do. I know it's a lot of money, and I know they do it on certain occasions, and they're able to get out to certain places, like Bound for Glory in Philadelphia. But I think it's something they should really try and do for a lot of the time, and try and get out to different places and get a good crowd reaction and get in front of different sets of fans. That can only help TNA Wrestling in the long run. And it's only going to help their fan base, and hopefully it'll help their numbers on pay-per-view. If it's got a different feel. I mean, if WWE taped everything they had in one place, they'd have the same problem. Even with 10 or 12,000 fans in the place, if they tape everything in the same place, fans are going to become apathetic at a time, and you're not going to get the reaction out of them you would, if they've seen it a week before. So I think that's an important thing for TNA to do, is to make sure that their pay-per-views are out and they do go to different places. Obviously, there's a lot more things that TNA needs to try and fix to become successful. I just thought I'd focus on one element there, because that was an element that came to mind while watching the Pro Wrestling Report How to Fix TNA Part 3. So that was just what I want to say, really, just apart from me. Obviously, leave your comments below. Write a comment, tell me what you think. What do you feel needs to be fixed in TNA Wrestling? If you were the person say you had one thing that really needs to be fixed, what would it be that you want fixed in TNA? Also, if you're on Twitter, you can follow me on there. I'm Jon, that's jon422002. Obviously, send me a tweet on there and let me know what you think as well. Thanks ever so much, and I shall talk to you all again soon. Bye-bye.